Over the last couple of days, you may have seen that there's a survey gone out, and it's to do with Wrath of the Lich King Classic. But there's a few questions on there to do with Wrath, but there's some bigger questions on there that I don't see anyone talking about. Now, I didn't receive the survey myself, but I have had screenshots of every question sent to me for us to break down in this video. Now, the simple questions that I've seen everybody talking about are things like, how interested are you in playing Wrath of the Lich King Classic? Or, how likely are you to play Wrath of the Lich King Classic? Or my favourite one, did you play World of Warcraft Wrath of the Lich King when it originally released in 2008 and 2010? Now, we're absolutely going to break all of these questions down and talk about them and what they might mean, but there are some bigger questions in here which could lead to new systems being implemented in Classic. And as I say, no one's talking about these. All people are talking about is, oh, this means Wrath's coming. I mean, we had a survey like this sent out during TBC, which I'm sure you remember. And it was more or less the same questions. How likely are you to play it? Are you looking forward to playing it? Did you play it back in the day? So this is nothing new, and it's also nothing to get excited about because we know Wrath of the Lich King Classic's coming, so we didn't need a survey to confirm it. But let's dive into some of the smaller questions, the ones that no one's talking about, once we've obviously gone through these big ones. But first, thank you guys to all of you that have joined the channel as a member. I really appreciate it. That's all you guys that are in the scrolling banner below. We will talk about how you can support the channel at the end of the video. But let's get into this survey. So firstly, how interested are you in a classic version of World of Warcraft Wrath of the Lich King? Not at all interested, all the way up to extremely interested. Now, I can't think of anyone who's going to say not at all interested, other than if you're not at all interested. But you know what I mean. Most people, when we get to the end of TBC, are going to want to go into Wrath of the Lich King, even if it's just to play about. I've been talking about this recently. Even when people say, no, we don't want Cata Classic, blah, blah, blah. If it got to the end of Wrath and you've got your character in full ICC heroic gear, wouldn't you at least want to go into the next expansion? Even if you knew you're probably not going to like it, but just go in, get to max level, maybe do some heroics, and then go, actually, yeah, it's not for me. But ultimately, the vast majority, I would go as far as saying at least 85% of the people that are playing now will at least log on to Classic Wrath in the first week or so. Maybe they will drop off and not enjoy it because it's not TBC, it's not the style of game that they enjoy, but I think the vast majority are going to be getting involved, I would have thought. So that's the first question. Second up, it was then how likely are you to play? Which, let's face it, these two questions are basically the same. They go hand in hand. If you're interested in a classic version of Wrath of the Lich King, then you're probably quite likely to play it. Wouldn't you agree? So, bit of a strange question, but we'll skip that one. And then, did you play World of Warcraft Wrath of the Lich King when it originally released between 2008 and 2010? Now, this is quite an interesting question because what they're probably trying to work out is how many new customers they get or how many new subscriptions they get. So this will go to this survey, I'm guessing, has gone to basically anyone who's got a Battlenet account, you know, so it doesn't you don't necessarily have to be playing Classic, you don't necessarily have to be playing retail, because there are also a couple of retail questions in there. So I'm guessing it's just basically if you've got a Battlenet account, there was a chance that you was going to get this survey. Whether or not it has been a bit more biased towards those who have already or are already playing Classic, you know, maybe, I don't know. But this, to me, this sort of question is basically saying, like, well, you played it back in the day. Are you going to play it now? You know, that's how I read into it. But yeah, did you play World of Warcraft Classic, Wrath of the Lich King, when it originally released between 2008 and 2010? Yes, we did. Loved it. That's why I'm looking forward to it again. Now, the next one is really, really strange. And I say it's really strange because how would you describe the faction balance of the realm you're primarily playing on across both factions? So poorly balanced, slightly balanced, well balanced, not sure, I don't know enough to answer. Now, the reason I say this is a really strange question is because why are you asking us? You know, like, why do we need to tell you whether it's balanced or not? You know, you've got the data, you're Blizzard, you can see exactly how many of each faction is logging on a daily basis on these servers. So why ask us? I mean, you know, as I say, you've got the data, you can see whether it's balanced or not. It doesn't matter how we feel. You know, if some guy who's got this survey who only logs on once a week and runs around and does a few quests, and it literally is going to take him a year to get to max level, he's probably going to just say, yeah, it's all right. Even on a 1% alliance server, as long as it's PvE, let's say. If it's PvP, I'm sure while he's leveling, even he's going to feel the faction imbalance. But you know what I mean? Depending on who gets this and what they actually do in the game, depends on what they're going to feel and think about this question. So it's really weird. Like, I don't know what they expect to get from this. You know, as in, if everybody just said, oh no, it's perfectly fine, are they going to leave the servers as they are? Because it just so happened that the vast majority of these surveys went to people on balanced servers. You know, how do we know? These literally could just be going to people who are at least on a 60-40. You know, it's luck, assuming that they're not actually picking who they're going to. It's pure luck. So the results of these questions, if this is how they're going to deal with things, they're going to go, well, 80% of people who filled this out said there's no problem with faction balance. Really? Well, we know there is. Listen to the 20%. The 20% that have said there is a problem are obviously the 20% that are on a imbalanced server. What it should really be asking is, you should be able to get a selection, a menu select and say, this is the server I'm on, and then how do you think it's balanced? And you go, not balanced at all, or it's really balanced. At least then they can sort of cross-reference these and go, well, actually, all the people that are on Ragnaros are happy with it. Everyone who's on Gehennis is happy with it. Oh, but all these people on, I don't know, Mirage Raceway are saying that it's imbalanced. Let's have a look. They could get some more meaningful answers out of this rather than, what do you think? Bit of a strange one. But anyway, so then we've got, if the population or faction balance issues you are facing were addressed, how likely are you to play World of Warcraft Classic or Burning Crusade Classic in the next 30 days? So it's from very unlikely all the way up to very likely. How many people really quit the game because of faction imbalance? I would say the vast majority of people transfer to one of these mega servers, and that's why we're in the mess we're in at the moment, where there's a couple of servers that are absolutely ridiculous. Population-wise, they've got queues and everything every evening, and then we've got others that are practically dead. It's because people want to play the game. People want to play the game. If there's an answer, even if it means paying out a little bit of money, they're going to do that. They're going to move to a different server, which, the proof is in the pudding. That's what we've got. That's what we've got with these big servers like Firemore, Gehennis, wherever you play, all these mega servers. I don't play on a mega server, but if my server got to the point where it was terrible, it would be one of those places that I moved to. So again, really, I don't know how many people, I mean, if you've quit playing WoW, but you're watching this video, but you quit because of faction imbalance, let me know in the comments, because I genuinely am intrigued to see if people do actually quit because of that. As long as you've got people to play with, in your guild or whatever, even if it is a really poorly balanced server, if you're enjoying the game, you're going to carry on playing. But I do get faction imbalance issues, and it does need to be resolved before Wrath of the Lich King. So then we've got, based on your experience, what is currently the best method to find a new World of Warcraft guild? Please select one. So invites or reference from my friends, Discord channels, in-game chat, using the in-game guild finder tool, guild recruitment threads on Reddit, MMO Champion, etc., accepting an in-game guild invite from another player I don't know yet, official forums, or other, none of the above. Now, I find this one, again, quite interesting, because if you think about retail's got quite a good way of finding guilds. You list your guild and, then you can look through guilds and go, oh, like, they're looking for this, they're looking for that. I wonder if maybe they're thinking, well, if it was easier to find a guild and it was more, accessible to everybody, not to people who look on Discord. I have people come in the stream and say, how do I find a guild to raid with? Seriously, I know some of us find it very easy and we're like, well, we'll go on the Realm Discord, we'll, look at posts and see who's recruiting what their progress is. A lot of us who are used to finding guilds know, but not everyone does. So could this possibly mean we could get the guild finder tool in Classic? Because I don't think that's a bad thing, if I'm completely honest. I don't look at it and go like, oh no, we don't want that. But it's not something that I've ever thought about having in Classic. I'm an advocate for many changes. I'm always like, yeah, in TBC we should have had dual spec. In Vanilla, as far back as Vanilla, we should have had the achievement system, because we could have started working on achievements all the way through the game. Give everybody more reason to log on. So it would be interesting to see the guild finder tool, the proper retail style tool, actually in Classic. Again, in the comments, let me know what you think about that, because it's not one I've ever thought about until I read this survey. And I'm wondering if that's sort of the angle they're going along, but we'll see. So next up, we've got, thinking about your playstyle related to World of Warcraft, which of the descriptions below best represents how you will play the game? I primarily play to compete with other players, either in PvP setting or by being the best in endgame PvE. I think most people are on that section, I would have thought. I primarily play to immerse myself in the game world and its lore, dig around, solve puzzles in WoW. No. And discover new areas I haven't found before. Okay, fair enough. A casual, yeah, that's fair. There are people that just run around and level and do those sort of things. I primarily play to interact with others, either already within my social networks or my guild or friends list, or with those I haven't had a chance to meet before. I primarily play to gain levels, achievement points, higher item level, and other measurable markers of success and progress. None of these descriptions match my preferred playstyle. It's all of those, isn't it, really? For the majority of players, you play to run around and do things you haven't done before. So that's the sort of exploration side of it. Puzzles, not so much, because there ain't no puzzles, let's be fair. Playing to immerse yourself in the game world, obviously you want that. You want an immersive game world. And then you want to either be good at PvP or good at PvE or possibly both. And playing to gain levels, well, I mean, you can't really do a lot without gaining levels. Getting achievements, there's going to be achievements, and that even people who are not bothered about achievements, like people who are like, no, I don't want achievements, there will still be some achievements that you do want because they've got a mount, they've got a title, they've got a tabard, they've got some sort of reward that you want. So even if you're not bothered about collecting achievements, there'll still be the odd one you go for. So really with this question, it's like a bit of everything for most people, I would have thought. So anyway, moving on. Overall, how effective is the reporting abusive players in World of Warcraft? Extremely effective, very effective, moderate, all the way down to not effective at all. If you remember, it was quite a while ago, but if you've watched me for a while, there was a video I put on where I quite literally showed you in Ironforge a guy whose bot had broke and he was just running backwards and forwards over the bridge, exactly the same path constantly over and over again for about 2 weeks. And I reported him multiple times. I'd watched other people report him, and he's still playing now. Well, not playing, but something playing for him. It's ridiculous. This is something that needs sorting. So I hope everyone says extremely not effective at all. Sorry, everyone says not effective at all, because they do need to try and make this better. Because when it says abusive players, yeah, I mean someone who's abusing game mechanics or abusing, using a bot. To me, that falls in amongst someone going, "Oh, you dickhead." Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't come across that many abusive players, as in personally abusive. I come across more helpful players actually in Classic than I do anything else. But there are abusive players out there. Let's be fair. They are there. There's dickheads on every server. But I would read into this question more as being abusive all round, not just to people, but to the game, to the TOS of the game and all of that. So anyway, next one. These ones are a bit boring, so I'm going to get through them quick. World of Warcraft offers several methods that can be used to respond to bad behaviour from players in game. How have you used each of the following methods in the last 3 months? So remove the player from a party or a raid, adding someone to my in-game ignore list, or reporting someone with the in-game reporting system. Now, this to me seems more like, just trying to... So they're being seen to do their bit when it comes to harassment and online bullying and stuff like that, which, they do need to do, don't get me wrong. As I say, I think it's a lot worse on private servers, as someone coming from someone who's played on private servers before, a lot. The toxicity of the communities on private servers is far, far worse than Classic. Classic's not actually that bad. As I say, you get the odd dickhead, but because it's their account, they don't want to get banned. I think people are a little bit more respectable, but ultimately, the systems that are in place, even if everybody said, no, it's terrible, and, they're removing people left, right, centre from parties and raids, they're still not going to do anything, are they? But again, this question's probably just to seem like they are doing something. But moving on, including yourself, these are the boring ones, but I'm just going to quickly flick through them and just show you them anyway. So including yourself, how many people in your household currently play World of Warcraft, including any children that play in your answer. So I've got a 9-year-old and a 4-year-old that I use and pay like 5p an hour to do fishing for me, but I'm not going to put that down. Please indicate the age and gender of each child. I'm not really sure why this is relevant. I don't know why they need this sort of information. Just make the game better. Who cares about trying to poach new subscriptions from your under 18s in your household? But how many children under the age of 18 live in your household? How many people under the age of 18 in your household currently play World of Warcraft? Including yourself, how many people live in your household? And how likely or unlikely are you to play World of Warcraft Shadowlands in the next 30 days? From very unlikely to very likely. I'd say very likely for me, because I've been watching that World First race, and I must admit, that new raid looks banging. Don't hate on me just because I mentioned the word retail and the fact that I might give it a go. I like to go in there and have a look, because it does look like a good raid. But those are the questions. And as I say, there was more. There was actually, I think, 3 or 4 at the start that was left out, but they're fairly, nothing important. More like those last ones that we just flew through, which don't really make much of a difference at all. Quite an interesting survey. I mean, the fact that it's talking about Wrath of the Lich King, we know we're going to get Wrath of the Lich King. And by the way, apologies for this video seeming a bit different to my normal ones. I just banged the green screen up and just wanted to talk about this because I didn't plan on doing a video today. But I saw it, I thought, well, I better at least just give you my views on it. But I think the big one there for me is about guilds and how you find a guild, because that's quite a strange question, unless they've already, in internal meetings, they've been throwing around the idea of implementing some of these quality of life systems into Classic. I think that's likely, especially with their evolving mindset, is what I'm going to say. I think we can all agree, especially from a retail perspective, they are looking like they're trying to make positive changes. So if part of that is actually trying to make it easier to find communities, or even adding the community tab as a whole into Classic, I think I'd welcome it. I genuinely think I would welcome it. Let me know in the comments what you think. But overall, fairly mediocre news, let's be honest. I weren't expecting this video to be particularly amazing because it's just another survey, but hopefully if you didn't know about it, you've got to see some more questions outside of just those that were posted on Reddit, give you a bit of an idea what you've missed out on in your inbox, which you've not missed a lot of you, let's be fair. If you did enjoy it anyway, make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Oh, roll the outro. There's lots of ways you can support the channel to keep me here putting out World of Warcraft content and covering all future MMOs. Consider joining the channel as a member. You get access to emotes, everyone will know you're a member when you comment on future videos because you get a nice icon next to your name, and you get access to members-only videos, which I'll be putting a lot of on the channel throughout the year. Additionally, there's a Patreon link in the description as well. Thank you for watching all the way to the end, and I'll see you on the next one.